how do you differentiate somebody who you can actually have fun with versus somebody who has to entertain you? It's a very common issue that men have. They say, why am I supposed to be the one who sits there and entertains you?
It's not entertaining. There's people that you click with and have chemistry with that you could do nothing all day. You could literally be folding laundry next to each other,
and
but like it's fun.
Right.
You never run out of things to talk about. The chemistry is always there. The spark is always there. Whether we're watching a movie, we're going to the post office, or we're going out, to a friend's birthday dinner. There's always. It's just fun being around them. It's not draining.
It's like a soulmate. Is there such a thing as a soulmate?
No, don't ever say soulmate again.
Why?
No.
I've been radicalized on the soulmate issue.
No.
I've recently been radicalized. I'm not convinced that everybody is a soulmate anymore. And for the longest time, I did think that.
Well, come on, team soulmate here.
Wait a minute. Have either of you ever met a person who talks honestly about soulmates, who wasn't wildly chaotic, didn't have like 15 soulmates in the course of their life? You know what I mean? Like, no, soulmates is like, I am flooded with chemicals right up front and I haven't actually thought about the future. Soulmates, no. Now, what I will say is this. What was I going to say?
He feels very strongly about this issue.
That threw me way off. The soulmates, please don't ever. I will throw this at you.
Having fun.
Yes. What you're talking about is the difference between men who think they have to be interesting and stimulating and flood you with like entertainment in the same way that they have to compete with Netflix, they have to compete with Amazon, they have to compete with every social media.
That's just ridiculously immature. If that's what they believe a woman means when she's like, I want somebody fun, then that's just, they have no understanding in my idea of 100%. Relationships.
But think about this. So if that's what they're doing, it's a different brain chemical, right? That's the addictive dopamine brain chemical, sugar, porn, everything is over here. But the depth of human connection, it really comes down to the neurotransmitter serotonin more, which is, if this is sugar, dopamine is sugar, I'm going to eat a candy bar, then serotonin is, I'm going to sit and enjoy steak and potatoes for my brain. It's going to really flood me, and you never get tired of it. So all the experiences you talked about, going to the post office, going grocery shopping, having a conversation, going to a friend's birthday party, those aren't wild sugar dopamine and sugar rushes kind of moments. Those are serotonin moments. That's what men, I think, are missing, is they think they have to dance for your amusement, but you just want them to be present with you.
So I had a serious relationship a couple years ago. In the first couple months, this guy took me to New York City on a helicopter ride. Every fancy restaurant you could think of, concerts, all of these fun things. After a couple months, when it became real life, because most people do not have the financial means to keep that ruse up for long term. Once all of that died down and it was real life, that's when the fighting began. Unless we were doing some sort of activity like that to distract us, we couldn't just sit with each other. That was a very, very toxic relationship, and the signs were there that this wasn't going to last long term because we were incapable of just being. One of my most recent relationships, that was the part that we did have very well, was that we just enjoyed being around each other, even if we weren't talking.
How did you set that relationship up different at the beginning? Instead of being flown out to New York and helicopters, what was different about the setup in that relationship? What did you guys talk about that was different?
There was just a personality difference, I think, between the two men, because the second one was way more, almost too, and this is what ended up causing problems, too lax, too chill, was too okay with just sitting and doing nothing and not taking initiative. So the biggest problem and what led to that relationship ending was everything's going great. Well, we don't need to get married anytime soon, even though I'm 31. What do you mean? We're doing fine. Like, I'm happy, you're happy. Like, we're just chilling. I'm like, we're not chilling once we're in our 30s.
Time is running by.
That's the thing. And it's frustrating because you get into this point as a woman where in your early 30s, you have to talk about the timeline because it is real. But if you do talk about the timeline, then you're nagging and you're rushing and you're putting pressure on. But if I don't talk about it and they're not bringing it up, then it's like, what are we doing? Like, you know what I mean? I'm either way, I lose as a woman dating in my 30s who wants to get married. If I don't bring it up, I'm damned. And if I do bring it up, I'm damned. Because they don't want to hear about I'm not interested in dating for longer than a year without knowing we definitely are getting engaged. They're like, well, you're putting pressure on me.
Yeah, but then what's so wrong about putting pressure on somebody? I don't understand this part about men specifically. It's like, You take a responsibility for somebody and you say, look, we're going to date. We're going to have a relationship, and it is something that I'm interested in. And then you have no plan. Like in your own mind, you wake up in the morning and you just go, well, today is a great day. I have no idea where this is going. I have no idea why I'm spending time with you. I have no idea why I'm investing, my emotional resources, my energy, my money into you, because I have no plan. I'm like, sorry guys, that's bullshit, right? So this is the part where you can call it out and say, look, I don't believe you don't have a plan. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. Men don't work like that. Men do not work on not having a plan. And that whole thing of, don't put pressure on me. It's like, it's also testing boundaries, right? To see if this is really that important to you. You got to understand, men test a lot of boundaries. We do it differently. We do not do it in the same way as women do. I notice myself testing boundaries with everybody, and that is to see, what do you really care about? Because I'm so used to people telling me things they claim to care about, women especially, and that's not the case. So as a woman, is it possible, do you think, to just push through and say, look, I need a plan, and you better have a plan or you're not a man?
I feel like I'm always really fair with saying in the very beginning, I am dating for marriage. I'm really not interested in just dating for longer than a year and a half tops, without having a conversation of we know we're getting engaged. Like, in my view, I do not think it's crazy at my age. Now, if you're 18, maybe, but in your 30s, late 20s, early 30s, I think it is totally fair to expect a guy to know, would I want to marry this girl within 6 months?
If you like this clip, I know you're going to enjoy the full episode. You can watch it right here.